Hi, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, A Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the questions you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. In today's episode, I am absolutely thrilled to be joined by Lachlan Wornes, Business Development Manager for BLUETTI Australia. How are you, Lachlan?
G'day, Rosh. How are you, mate?
I am very well. Great to see you on Australian soil. It only seems like yesterday we were in China together.
It was a great trip over there, and so exciting to see the factory, to meet all the people over there, catch up with you and your team. It was a great experience.
No, look, you did so well, Lachlan. And for anyone who's kind of thinking, what were you guys in China together? We're filming our brand new television show, Global Energy Revolution, which will be on the screen in February next year on Channel 9. So more information will come out soon. We're not going to give away too much on this particular podcast, because otherwise there'll be no point watching the TV show. But Lachlan, you've obviously been around BLUETTI now for about 3 years and seen all their incredible technology. It must be so amazing. It must have been so amazing for you to actually just meet the team in China and just see the technology being manufactured on location.
It is. You really get a great sense of the family, the size of the company, the huge amount of uptake that the BLUETTI products are getting worldwide, and it's kind of humbling. You think about it. You think about the size of our warehouses, the products that move. When you see it at that scale, you're like, "Ooh, right, okay, it's a big thing."
It is absolutely mind-blowing. Lachlan, I mean, with the exception of meeting you in China, it was the first time I'd ever met you. So for anyone who doesn't know you and is kind of thinking, hang on, I've seen this guy around the traps, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, and what led you to BLUETTI in the first place?
Well, basically, I was in the automotive aftermarket industry before this. So I had a lot of experience dealing with overseas companies, moving products through Australia. But when I decided to sort of finish up with that industry, this came up as what a great next step, because I was already into my four-wheel driving. I love my camping. I already had a couple of these products before, so I was like, hey, I know this. This is right up my alley. I feel very, very comfortable in this world. And it was a very seamless sort of thing. And the only weird part about this was realizing that there was a much slower uptake on this than I originally thought there would be. But it's really sort of starting to gain some momentum now. And it feels good to be part of that, actually.
No, look, it really does. And you're kind of right. I mean, the reality is there's always been sort of portable storage, if you like, almost like the little travel packs to keep your phone topped up. But as we all know, there was never, you're never going to get enough power to do anything more than maybe a half an hour charge at best for your mobile phone. And if you're trying to charge up your laptop and whatnot, until the last really for most consumers, until the last 2 or 3 years, you're kind of stuffed unless you've got a power supply. So BLUETTI have really delivered in terms of the technology that you guys have introduced to the Australian market. And as you said for yourself, I mean, like, you're into being outdoors in your four-wheel drive, going camping, going exploring, and relying on plugging in your devices into your cigarette lighter really is a thing of the past, and just not conceivable.
It was that was one of the first places that I recognized just how limited you are when you're trying to do this sort of stuff. It was incredible. You go, oh, what about if I could take this? And then as with a lot of people, they do not understand power. They do not understand how it works, the numbers behind it, all of this sort of stuff. So it wasn't until I got into this that I really started to catch on, and you go, oh, wow. But the best part was dealing with the customers and the creativity. So obviously BLUETTI portable products are promoted towards the camping, towards outdoors, because that's the most obvious place for it. But you put some of these in the hands of a lot of Australians, and the creativity of how they use it, where they use it, what they use it for, really, really starts to shine. It's that's been one of the best parts of this, is just seeing the multitude of different ways that the units are being used.
It really is. And I mean, if you consider, I mean, what I love most about BLUETTI, I mean, there's a lot of things I love about your brand and the way you guys go about doing what you do. But really, there's just such a broader range of products. And so much so, you guys are now also involved, not just from portable storage, but also into the energy storage space for homes. So, like, having battery storage, complementing solar power on the roof, which is absolutely insane. So, just for anyone, once again, listening or watching, can you kind of just outline the range of products that you guys actually have available?
Well, it's actually speaking with our boss here a few weeks ago. Even he admits, he goes, maybe our range is a bit too full. Like there's a lot, we've got a lot. We cover a lot of bases here, and I think what the main driver of our success is that people know us from our portable range, and what we're doing is we're carrying that confidence and that brand recognition into our bigger steps. So now that we're into the home systems as well, which we've been in for, we've had the products for quite some time. We've got our EP760 and the batteries that go along with that. That's been really big. And to be honest with you, events like All Energy, when you get to speak to installers, you get to speak with guys that are like, hey, I know this brand. I think I've got one of these, or my mate's got one of these when I go camping or fishing or something. Tell me about it. What can this do? When you really start to lay out what we can do, what the product can be, the reaction from them is like, oh, wow, you've really covered everything. You've really covered all of the details that we don't see in a lot of products. And that was shocking to me. I thought, oh, wow, we've got a lot of big competition on the market. There's a lot of great products out there. But to hear it from the installers, to hear it from people that are dealing with these products all the time, to go, wow, you guys have got everything covered. It was just another backing of confidence that we are just taking all of our knowledge and just expanding it into this bigger range.
Absolutely. And what's quite interesting, even like, just a few weeks ago, one of my colleagues who works for one of Australia's largest, solar retailer installers, I mean, they jumped onto our website, Energy Matters, and we have a link through to your portable storage. And they just said, oh, we're going to use the Energy Matters discount code to buy a portable storage system for our use. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, when we go and install solar power, we all have our devices, we have different things that require electricity. And we're going to get one of these portable storage units to actually just charge our devices and to provide another power supply whilst on location, which is incredible.
It's been one of those things that we've been now, like my focus is now trying to get through to the tradies of Australia, because we have probably good 3 units there that, in my opinion, nearly every tradies vehicle in Australia should have one of these units. Because you talk to any trader, you go, how many times have you shown up on site and all the batteries in your power tools, which are all battery powered now, how many times you show up and they're all dead? You go, oh my God, and there's no power on site. When you've got these sort of things that are able to fill that gap, that just keeps everything churning without having to think about it, it's one of those situations where you're like, okay, all right, we're here, we've created this base, we've created this confidence, and now all we've got to do is just get the right things in front of the right people, and it's already happening. Like the amount of people that are coming to us with, it's not for camping, it's not for recreation anymore. Now they're really looking at it for serious jobs, for serious work sites, just to be able to keep everything going. They're like, the power and the capacity of units like this is just making people think differently about how they can do their jobs, or how they can, get power when they need it, sort of thing.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the things that jumped out in my mind, early in the piece, I mean, we featured BLUETTI on another TV show, or actually our first television show, which was called Energy Matters, earlier last year, and actually earlier this year. And inside of that one, that we were only able to film everything electric at that time. And I think we spoke to Tiger and a couple of your colleagues there, and just looking at the range. And it was a beautiful segment because it was just really electric. But one of the things we really wanted to feature, because I couldn't make it to everything electric at that particular time because of the cyclone, right? I live in the Gold Coast, and we just got hit by Cyclone Alfred. So we lost power for nine days, and I didn't have solar power. In fact, I had solar panels installed, and I had batteries ready to be installed, but they weren't installed. So, it was literally, oh my God, it was literally the most annoying time of my life, not just because of the cyclone and the fact that we were cut off for 9 days, but the fact that I could see these beautiful panels on my roof, but there was no inverter and there was batteries outside and nothing was working. So it was horrible. But at that particular time, I was thinking to myself, because I knew that I was going to be in Melbourne. I knew I was going to be in Sydney. I knew I was going to be catching up with BLUETTI had I not been stuck in the Gold Coast. And I knew that you guys just do like portable storage systems that are absolute monsters that would have been the perfect power supply during a blackout. And I've got, different neighbors around there saying, well, we're running diesel if you want to come down and charge some stuff. And I was thinking, I don't really want to charge any of my devices on diesel because I'm just adding to the problem. Although, don't get me wrong, power's power right in that particular moment.
At the time, yeah.
At the time. But the fact is, you guys, like the tech you have, and I know people are probably watching, listening, thinking, oh, it's just a small little handheld thing that you carry around. Some of the units that you guys have would actually power all the major things you need in your home in that particular moment, like the lighting, refrigeration, as well as your portable devices.
And that's the thing, that's the message that we're trying to get out there. And unfortunately, because Australia is such a safe place with regards to our grid power, right, is unless you're in a few small pockets around Australia where you have some rolling blackouts, you have some, it's not as consistent as what most of the country is. Most people don't think about it because it's not really an issue. No, they don't really come across. You don't really come across that problem. Whereas when you have events like the cyclone that came all the way down to Brisbane, few million people without power, and not just for a short period of time, like this is for a couple of days, a couple of hours, most people can brush it off, very easy to get through. But a couple of days, it starts to become a bit of a problem. And we realized that most of Australia just isn't prepared for anything like that. So trying to get the message out there, trying to show we've got some doozies of products. Like, I mean, we've got some stuff that can run basically your whole house, and then stackable batteries to go along with that. That's not connected to the house, if you know what I mean. You can take it out, you put it in the ute, or you have it in your work ute or your van, or you have it in the shed as people would normally use a petrol or diesel generator. Like, I mean, some people have got, I've got a 2 kVA diesel generator. I'm like, well, we've got an equivalent to that. Oh, I've got a 6 kVA. Well, we've got an equivalent to that as well. We've got big units, big robust things that can handle those big sort of situations. And it's, like I said, Australians are starting to slowly go, hang on a second. These things are way more powerful and way more usable than what you originally thought. But it's just as somebody gets it, uses it, somebody goes, wow, I've seen it. That's amazing. Cool. Now I need one. But that uptake is really starting to gain some momentum now. It's great.
Look, it really does. And I think when anyone's considering their road to zero and really how do we transition, 100% away from fossil fuels through to renewable energy, there's little gaps and spots where they think, well, I can get solar power on my roof. And now the cheaper home batteries programs in place, I can get battery storage as well and start storing the excess electricity and using that at nighttime, early mornings, charge my EV. But then it's those times where, you are talking about going camping, going fishing, going to the beach, where you need a power supply, and not really being concerned about, okay, how much am I going to have on my phone about, how much charge am I going to have on my phone? And then you kind of also then considering, well, I live on property, or, I have got like another sort of shed further away from the home that's not connected to power. So I do need to run a diesel generator. So really the opportunity now to really migrate and transition completely away from fossil fuels, there literally is a solution. And I'm super impressed that you guys have actually broadened your product range. I know it must be a marketing, person's nightmare because it's just such a wide range of stuff that you do.
Yeah.
You don't want to overcomplicate it for the end user and the consumer. But at the same token, knowing there is a solution for almost every type of scenario, including the worst case scenario where there's an absolute blackout or you're completely off grid, and and you can probably get to a power supply, or you have solar power, happening throughout the daytime, and you can add battery storage, but you have other components to your property that literally are isolated. So knowing that there is a solution for you, and look, the thing that came to my mind the other day, Lachlan, was we're on property ourselves, only a small acreage, but we want to build my daughter's been camping at the back of the property, and it's got a nice little tent set up. And to be fair, our chippy friend said that I could build her a nice little, properly a little house out there, like put nice, nice deck. And I was thinking, yeah, but how are we going to power that? And I was thinking, hang on a second, like it'd be so easy just to
exactly you're saying, yeah.
Exactly, just charge up a decent BLUETTI style battery, and that would power that little cubby house for probably about 3 or 4 days, to be fair, if not the whole week.
Absolutely.
So it's a great
you pair it with some solar, and you don't have to think about it again. Then it's it's an easy round the clock sort of thing. I mean, I know of customers that run their pool completely separate to the house, just on a BLUETTI device and a solar panel. So that way, it's not draining it's not taking from the grid, which, if anybody's ever had pools or hot tubs or anything like that, they know how different their power bill gets by adding this and not being so specific about your filtration times and everything like that. Whereas you can just go, here, I just put this unit on, have a solar panel connected to it, and it's completely run absolutely separate to the grid power, so I'm not having to pay for that sort of thing. There's people using these things in many different ways. The full home setup, that's obviously that's one big solution that can help you in a bunch of different ways. But then we've also got the smaller solutions to go, a lot of people just want to dip their toe in. They're like, okay, let's see, what is this? Like, they'll buy one. The amount of people that will buy us one of our smaller ones, and within 6 months, they are back again going, I love this. It's amazing, but I need more power, more battery, because now they've got an understanding of it. Like, now they can go with the LCD screens that we have, they're able to watch power live. Like, they're able to see what their devices are doing. Like, the screen on it, and the app, of course, is such a great educational tool, because you can go, oh my God, what happens if I plug this device in? Oh, that's how much I'm using. Oh, wow, what happens if I put my hand and shadow over one part of the solar panel? And you can see how much your power input drops by just a little bit of shade on it. It gets people thinking. It gets people understanding more about their energy needs and what they can actually do with certain things. It's one of those parts where, when you see people starting to understand it a bit better, they get a bit more excited, because then they can go, okay, I know how to use this now. I know what's going to suit me, and it makes all the difference. Like, it's something that's I think BLUETTI can feel quite proud of, to be able to go, hey, we're actually not only providing the products for it, but we're actually helping people understand it as well.
Absolutely. And I think fundamentally that's always been probably the scariest thing about, for some, especially for the older generation. I mean, my mum and dad, I mean, they're pretty au fait with tech themselves. I mean, they're both on social media, they use technology, they use apps, they're kind of getting their heads across it. And I think, as things are becoming more, there's just so much better visibility on a handheld device to be able to look at how things are performing. And then obviously, and there's still a whole chunk of people that would rather just walk up to the device itself and have a look at it. And the fact that you guys have ticked both of those boxes makes it just so consumer friendly, which is absolutely amazing. I know people listening and watching this, especially those end users, consumers, are thinking, you know what, I can't really wait until the TV show to actually see this stuff up close and personal. Although All Energy is technically a business-to-business event, still come along. And
absolutely, because we have everything on display, and that's one of the cool things about it is, you know, you're talking to a lot of people there. Like, I mean, a lot. My voice by the end of that couple of days it's usually by the end of the first day, I'm like, okay, I need to at least have one drink just to feel a bit better, you know. But you're talking to so many people because you're explaining. You get a bit of their understanding first, and then you go, oh, okay. So, but check this part out, and you expand their understanding of it, and the amount of people will come and have a chat first. They'll go for a walk around. They'll come back because now they've been around. They've got a few more questions. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
what I got from you made me understand this, and now I've got more questions to continue my knowledge growth. You know.
There's a reason why All Energy literally is probably it is the largest event of the year for our industry, but you know, also one of the most popular, purely because there is just so much amazing technology that's being showcased in one place. It is 2 days, but in those 2 days, you've got hundreds of speakers from every walk of life, from government, policymakers, manufacturers, you know, you name it, they're there talking. So you've got all these guys speaking in different rooms around the MCEC in Melbourne, and then on top of which you've got like a floor that's just absolutely stacked with incredible exhibits, not just a couple of little stands. These exhibits are absolutely mind-blowing, right? So
that part blows me away sometimes. Yeah, you walk in there and you're like, whoa, just the sheer scale of the complex itself, and just how full and wall to wall it is with just everything in the industry. Like it's not your little, you know, dinky 3x3, meter picture tent and here we go. No, there's big money involved in this. There's big exhibits, and there's a lot to show off. Like there's so much to get your head around. It's not just these small details. There's a lot that comes from this. Everything from big industry all the way down to our little handheld units. You know what I mean?
Like completely. Look, I know you probably don't want to give too much away, but from a BLUETTI point of view, can you share with us, you know, some of the things we can expect to see at your exhibit in Melbourne?
Well, I mean, the great thing with BLUETTI is we always have something new coming up. Like always, it's a really fantastic thing. I think one of our big focus is obviously going to be on our EP 760 and the new EP 2000, which is our 3-phase version. So a little bit more for large residential, small commercial as well. And then we've also got our new RV solar that's launching as well. It's a little bit more towards the caravan market.
Wow,
big
okay.
Power. Oh yeah, there's some big things going on there as well. And you know, then there may be another couple of little details there, but I think you'll have to come down and check it out just to see some of those newer ones as well.
Fantastic. Are you okay with your location inside of All Energy? Have you studied the map, or are you?
No, I haven't looked at it yet. I need to have a look. But if the last couple of years, I think we were really happy with where we were. We were sort of the middle of it all, which is a great location. So I do need to look at the map and double check and make sure we're in the same area again.
I'm the worst. Like, I mean, to be fair, I wait until the day before. And in fact, it's on the plane on the way to Melbourne that I should jump on and have a quick look and then start making notes. Yeah. I've got to go see these guys. I'm filming an interview with these guys. I need to say hello to these guys and start to plan.
You need to for an event that's that big, and only 2 days. Yeah. Like there are people there that are going, man, I've got to map out. I've got to come in and go, okay, I've got to do this in quadrants, sort of things. Like to go, I've got to need to hit what I can hit because there's a lot to get through in those 2 days.
Oh, there really is. And look, you know, we're you know, as well as obviously filming with you recently in China, we'll be filming part of our television show on the first day. So if anyone, you know, my first bit of advice is anyone watching or listening, you really want to register for All Energy. It's a free event, which is another thing that absolutely slaps me in the face every time I talk about it. Because if you consider the hundreds of speakers, and some of these guys are so inspirational, and the stuff they're talking about is incredible. I mean, you'd be expecting to pay for an event of this magnitude. So it's completely free to register. So jump onto the All Energy website themselves, or onto Energy Matters under events, and you'll be able to see the link to the All Energy the registration page. and then you can just sign up and attend for either 1 or 2 days. I would, and as Lachlan pointed out, there's just too much going on to go for 1 day. You really want to go for 2 days, without a doubt. Lachlan, I can't wait to see you there. Mate, we're running through the time. It just goes so quickly. But before we finish up, I just want to ask you about the Cheaper Home Battery Program. So, I mean, how's that been going for you guys at BLUETTI?
Well, it's a fantastic deal. Like it's taken enough of the sting out of what batteries cost. What it's done is it's just brought that return on investment down to maybe a couple of years, like depending on what one you go with, the size, where you're at. But instead of it being a 10-year payback because of the price, it's just slash that number down, and you're back on top of things within a couple of years, sort of thing. And which just means that everybody goes, now it makes sense. Now it makes so much sense. So it's been great for us as well. I think one of the things we really would like to see in Australia is a few more installers now, just to be able to get everything out, get it in, get it up and running. And it's actually been, I do believe they're calling it a once in a generation event for Australia. Like you're not going to see this type of thing where you're getting this much of a rebate, you're not getting this much of a kickback on something that is going to do so much for your home bottom line, to be honest. Like it's such an incredible thing.
You're so correct. And if you kind of play it back, I mean, I've been in solar since 2009. And back then, the STCs, which is the federal component to the rebate, if you like, which is also similar to the Cheaper Home Batteries Program. The STCs on panels were phenomenal, like massive, massive rebates. And but the cost of systems back then were ludicrous, right? 5 kilowatts was $25,000. Today, it's like a fifth of the price. But really, that rebate drops and drops and drops. And if you look at it logically, the intention of federal intervention when it comes to the adoption of renewable energy technology for rooftop, for homeowners, and for businesses is they're trying to encourage people to adopt the technology early on. Because the more people that adopt that technology, it reduces the requirement for the burning of fossil fuels, which reduces the requirement for coal and gas. And then that means the government and the utility scale people out there, private funding as well, can invest their cash into utility scale generation, huge batteries to provide that baseline electricity, which eliminates coal, and then obviously more renewable energy assets like wind, hydro, solar to provide all the renewable energy we need to come to the grid. And for those who have to, who do need electricity to the homes of businesses through the grid, has green electricity. But before that happens, encouraging homeowners and business owners to adopt renewable energy technology is kind of the phase. We've been crying out for this program for so many years. Rooftop solar is fantastic, but like most people, we're not really in our homes most of the time, and our requirement for electricity probably goes up and is highest in the evenings. So this is where the batteries kick in. But really, for anyone watching or listening who has yet to adopt renewable energy technology, this is the time to go all in. Because really, that battery rebate is going to drop and drop and drop. And although it's a 5-year program, we don't know. Like, we can't see what's going to happen between now and 5 years' time.
I wonder because I know it's a number. Like at the end of that, they go, all right, this is what we expect over those 5 years, and at the adoption rate right now, I think they're going to be capping that at a little bit earlier. The Australians are just going, wow, this makes so much sense. We need to get on this. We need to do this right now. And like I said, it's one of those things where I think a lot of Australians are looking at this going, wow, this just makes sense. Like this is a no-brainer. Get on it, sort of thing. Yeah, it's one of those details,
Look, I've given the Labor government, and in particular, like Chris Bowen, a lot of credit over the last few weeks on these podcasts and the conversations I've had, and I'll do it again. I mean, like, it's an absolute game changer. And as far as a political party goes, it was just such a good call to launch this program because it really is going to fast track Australia to not only net zero, but for those who are like, oh, I don't care about net zero. Well, you care about your energy bills. And those energy bills aren't going down, they're going up. Your requirement for electricity is going up. And as you electrify your home, you've got more and more devices, more smart home smart automation going on. So the absolute unfortunate, thing that's going to happen over time is your energy requirements going to increase, not decrease. So
right.
really, you kind of, and without being disrespectful, I mean, not everyone, there is a financial implication to adopting renewable energy technology. There are payment plans out there, green loans, your banks, all the banks are jumping on it now and trying to bundle it into your mortgage. So there's a whole bunch of ways of affording renewable energy tech that doesn't require you to have cash. And at the same token, if you can do it, you really need to, because one way or the other, you're going to be using green electricity. You're either going to be having it on your own home because you've actually made that happen yourself personally, or at some point in the future, you're going to be buying it from the grid. And it probably will be more expensive than it is today.
Oh, absolutely. Like this is, I honestly believe this will be one of those things that when you jump on this, whether you do it now or a little bit down the track, it's one of those things that you'll get onto, and in 20 years time, in 15 years time, you'll look back and just go, wow, I couldn't imagine life now without this. Like I can't imagine going through everything that you do in new houses, new way of living, new technologies that you're bringing into your homes. You'll look back and go, how do we actually ever do life without batteries connected to the house, without solar energy, without finding other ways to generate this power to continue a lifestyle that we've enjoyed so far? It's
completely.
I think it's going to be that big of an impact.
Look, it really is. We should almost, in about 10 years from now, Lachlan, is, get back to, we'll chat way more within the next 10 years than then. But go back and say, you remember that podcast we did 10 years ago? This is where we were at then. Now let's do a comparison. It is absolutely going to be mind-blowing. And the rate of adoption, but more so that, we're in the middle of like, not just a technological revolution. That's kind of already been and gone. Now it's AI-driven. There's just like literally an exponential growth curve into how all different types of tech is being incorporated into day-to-day life. And AI has only just begun, but that's going to blow things up. Not so much because we're going to have robots walking around, but AI incorporated into everything that we do is just going to have us be way more efficient. And there's a massive, energy requirement if we start embracing more technology, as we said, into different smart type techs around our home. Things become absolutely crazy. So all voice controlled, it's exciting, but with that excitement, there needs to be power. That things need to be powered. So
look, it's one of those things. I think that education comes along with this as well, because the apps, like every brand that does this, they have an app that goes along with this, and anything that directs people into understanding their power consumption is a really, really good thing. Because the amount of people that I know now that absolutely know nothing, they don't know what a kilowatt hour is, they don't know how much they use personally. They're trying to understand it off their electricity bill, and they have no idea. So by having this sort of technology, by having it and being able to just, you're sitting there going, oh, I wonder how my solar's doing. I wonder how much it's a beautiful day. How efficient is my house being right now? Or you've got friends over, you're having dinner or something like that, and you can go, holy geez, we're using a lot of power right now. Like, we got a lot of things going on. I understand that. But that also helps with curbing what our future holds by being aware of what we're consuming all the time.
Yeah, look, you make an exceptionally good point. And I think it is, in the past when we've first got into solar power, explaining the back of the electricity bill was probably the most complicated thing in the world, because no one had absolutely any idea. Then you're breaking it down by daily usage. And then the reality is, look, your electricity consumption varies throughout the day. There is no consistency with how you use electricity, with the exception of when you turn your TV on, do the cooking, put your lights on. But there's just so many variables. And you're right. So having the technology in the palm of your hands, so you can actually see like how you use electricity, how it chops and changes, allows you to make more informed choices, and fundamentally just puts you in control of what's going on. So
it also helps with how the government is spending, how everybody else is using their power, especially with VPPs as well, becoming coming along with this technological revolution. it's important for people to actually understand what they're doing, what they're using, and the best way to do this is to make sure that everything is visible, like everything you're doing, you're learning, how you're going about your daily life, and being able to go, actually, I know the numbers that go along with this now. It starts to make sense. That drives even more innovation, I think.
No, absolutely. Well, look, I've really seen firsthand how your products are made, which was absolutely mind blowing. Everyone else can tune into, Global Energy Revolution in February, Channel 9 in next year. And then obviously between now and then, if you can't wait, well, you shouldn't wait anyway. You should pop along to All Energy, 29th and 30th of October. Meet Lachlan up close and personal, have a conversation, check out the product range. It's absolutely mind-blowing. There's so much. I can't wait to see all of it in one exhibition and just have a little bit of a play and take a few photos and do a few interviews whilst I'm there. Lachlan, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I look forward to seeing you at All Energy very, very soon.
Fantastic, Rosh. Been great. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, mate. All the best.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
So, guys, once again, you want to head down to All Energy, 29th and 30th of October, just around the corner in Melbourne. 2-day event. You want to go for both days. BLUETTI are absolute legends. Their technology is phenomenal, as you probably now just heard, but you really want to see it up close and personal, and just to get a real gauge of how you can use that type of tech in your own home, on the road, in your business. No matter what your profession is, there's always a requirement for energy. And BLUETTI have got some of the best portable tech in the business, as well as home energy storage. That is obviously subsidized by the Cheaper Homes battery program as well here in Australia. If you haven't yet gone or got quotes for battery storage, including BLUETTI stuff, jump onto our website, useenergymatters.com.au/free solar quotes to get quotes for their actual home energy storage system, which is essentially like batteries powered by solar, charged by solar power. And at the same token, if you want to check out their portable stuff, you can jump onto their website or jump onto our marketplace and have a read about the stuff that we believe that everyone should have in their own properties. And that will link you straight through to the BLUETTI page, so you can actually buy that product with a bit of a discount. There is a discount code on our page. Other than that, thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure chatting, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.